Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had a good beginning of the week and a good weekend. And so we're going to open it up to sharing experiences, asking questions. You can unmute yourself and type in. And then after that, if we have time left, we'll go through and we'll do a little practice. So go ahead and fire away.
Yeah, go ahead, Priya.
Hey, Priya.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, thanks. I'm gonna ask a very basic
Yeah, of course.
question.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I was I was attending a class, a meditation, and one of the trainers there in the meditation just because. Hey, can you hear me?
Hmm?
So, in the one of the trainers, she mentioned, just because in PH it's so common to have a salt bath, and she mentioned that when we are having a salt bath, it's better to submerge our face and head completely in the salt bath, so that our crown, our ajna, our forehead, everything gets the effect of the salt bath. I wanted to check it with you first before
I,
doing
I, I
something
mean,
like this, that is it
yeah.
important to soak?
No, it's not that important. Honestly, the most important part for you to soak is from like the knee down, but more importantly, probably like the waist, the solar plexus, the torso, like the upper stuff. I mean, it needs to get clean too, but it's not as important as if you clean up that lower aspects, the upper stuff gets cleaned up just because because
Yeah,
it is a byproduct of that, and so um y- you know uh, people have different interpretations of things, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know that it's going to improve a whole lot if you do it. If you do it, great. I mean, I spent a period of time doing it. Also, I found that happened. I didn't feel much cleaner, but I felt that it dried out my hair a lot. So I stopped doing it. Like, I would always add a lot of conditioner and everything, but um, I've had just foot baths that felt as good as a salt bath. And, it wasn't even all the way up to the knee. It was just, like that deep with my feet in it. And so cleaning up the aura is a lot of the lower centers and then the knee down. And
yep,
so as long as you hit those spots, like if you want to be, have an extra sassy bath where you're like, I'm going to go deeper, I would take a little bit of salt or a salt scrub and scrub the feet and the lower legs. I
yep,
mean, really just the feet.
yeah,
And that would be better than dunking your head by far. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I
No,
went through at one point because I was, I was doing the whole 9 yards, and that was not the instructions that were given. Instructions given by the guru were just take a salt bath. And
yeah,
then interpretation started coming where people were saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so I started doing evaluations. I couldn't tell a difference. Like,
yeah,
like scanning, looking, feeling, whatever, couldn't feel a difference. But, especially the shoulders down. Every once in a while, the throat might be a little bit of a thing, but the shoulders down nails a lot of it. And after that, anything else is just gravy. If you want to do more, do a little scrubbing. And if you want to do the auric programming, like here we have the layer 7 and the aura, the function of the aura, and then we have a couple that have the auric programming is do the bath with the auric program. Like so here, if you're trying to treat the respiratory tract, put in pulmonary stress support or respiratory support, do a bath like that, or even just a foot bath with that. And it has a big impact on the energy body. And so
yeah.
I would say that's much more efficient than anything. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, secondly, I haven't attended a lot of classes that cover the discussion of coffee oil, but I do know that coffee, because of the orange, it's very purifying and cleansing. But
Mhm.
how could I use it for the solar plexus and for general
Again,
energy.
taking a salt bath with coffee is very cleansing, but the thing that coffee is also good for is it's a very good lymphatic stimulant. And so it increases the body's potential for throwing off lower vibrational energy. And anytime, especially in the skin, the coffee heavily impacts lymphatic function in the skin. And anytime you do that, you are improving the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, and the spleen's ability to detoxify. And so in cleaning up
Yeah.
the lymphatic system
So
like
can
that,
it
so
be
has
applied
somewhat of
neat
a
on the abdomen?
yeah, oh sure. Yeah. Anywhere that you want. You know, I tell this story like the very first time, you know, because I was real picky. There was some oil, steam distilled oils of coffee, and they were really super expensive. And you know, I got little samples, and I gotta say I wasn't impressed. And then I got this CO2 and I liked it, so I bought, you know, a couple kilos of it. And you know, it finally came in and I was like, oh, this would be amazing. And you know, I was feeling good and I was like, I'm gonna rub a little bit on my feet. And so I rubbed it on my feet, and then I was like, now my legs feel heavy. It's not like something happened. It's just my feet started feeling so good that then I could tell like my legs don't feel that great. And then so I rubbed it on my legs. You know, I'm just doing it neat. So I'm like, and I'm rubbing it on my legs, and then I was like, oh man, my legs feel so good. But now my back hurts. Like, you know, so I rubbed it on my back. So by the time I was done, I pretty much covered the whole body. And I
Yeah.
was like, I should have just taken a salt bath. Like, you know, I thought I was going to do a little, like, I'm going to do a little spot treatment. And it feels so good that eh, one thing led to another. And I think I used 10 or 15 mils of oil on my body. And so, you know, you can use it on the solar plexus. Another little trick, like when you want to do the solar plexus, is put a drop or two of something that you want to use. Coffee is a good one on the web of the between the thumb and the whatever. What's that? Forefinger? What do you call that? Whatever that
Yeah.
finger is. You put it there on both sides and just kind of rub it in like so, and that will have a cleansing effect on the solar plexus.
Interesting. So I could
Yeah.
do marjoram, I could do
You could do
coffee.
marjoram. You could do, you know, kind of like ones that are very soothing like that, that still clean the solar plexus is like a little bit of rose or a little bit of jasmine.
Yeah.
You know, things that are activating to the heart, which marjoram is very activating to the heart. So you could put a little bit of the marjoram there, and it should also have a cleansing effect. Because anytime the heart activates, the solar plexus lets go. Like it just starts
Yeah.
letting go of things. Yeah.
So, because what I notice is that heart is open and I'm doing my blessings and everything. But then when I go out and I'm in a group setting,
Yeah.
I can feel the instant shift. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
feel that, okay, but there was no trigger. There was
Yeah.
absolutely,
Oh, tremendous. Hey, tremendous.
but
Try even doing a little bit of hyssop, maybe right before you go out. Hyssop or chocolate root cleanser, because that will also minimize any sort of absorbing things from the environment. You know,
yeah.
it won't completely stop it, but it will diminish it substantially.
Yeah, and I had sent it in an email, but I wanted to thank you so much for Inula because inhaling it, just doing that one, I think it was 80 minutes of respiratory Sunday session that I
Mhm.
did, and I could feel so relaxed. My breathing had
Oh,
no
isn't it
real.
amazing? Like
Oh my God,
Anula is it's crazy. You
it
know,
was.
like going back to like back in the day, Anula is actually kind of hard to get, and it's one of those oils that people like will adulterate and stuff. And so back in the early days, there was only one person that I knew. There wasn't very many people bringing it into the country, right? And so when I would buy it, I had to have a referral, and the person would be like, you know, because she only had a limited amount. And so I had to get an approval from her, and then she would approve how much I was allowed to buy because
Uh-huh.
like she had to allot it to, other potential people. And so, of course, I got a little bit like, that's ridiculous. Why can't you da 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 da? And she was like, there's only so much going around, and it's not all going to you. And so I was like, ugh. And so, it was one of those things back in the old days that we would kind of hoard a little bit because it was
Mm,
like, hey, this is like the special sauce that we can put
yeah.
in to any respiratory thing. But it's also good for the physical heart. It's good for the adrenals, like it's calming down to the adrenals. It's antispasmodic. It even is antispasmodic to the gut. But I don't usually talk about it like that too much, just because it is a little bit of a pricey oil and it is kind of precious. And I have a little bit of that past of like, keep it for special things, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very, very good for like palpitations and things in the heart, and reducing some tension in the heart, and very good for calming down adrenals as well. And so I'm with you. It's a very nice, even like almost as a tonic sometimes. Like you're just at the end of the day, it's just like you just can feel everything just melting off of you. And so it's definitely a special one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it was not only inhaling, I had 3 drops in a small glass of water also, and I could just
Mhm.
feel that it was like a double win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Now, lastly, maybe it is because of Vesak energies. Last night, I hardly slept. And before going to sleep, I also had valerian, a few drops, but I wanted
Mhm.
to check with you
It
how
was
far,
Resaw.
how much
Yeah.
can I take?
Oh, with valerian, you could probably get away for 3 or 4 drops. The worst thing that will happen, like if you take too much valerian, is you'll wake up with kind of a weird, like foggy headache. If you take too much, you'll know like, ugh, I've had too much.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, 3 or 4 drops. I mean, there's been a couple of times where I've done a little bit more than that, but it's usually when I have like really bad insomnia, or, changing time zones, jet lag from being overseas or something. And so I don't do that often, but you can, if you're really having a difficult time, because the thing that's nice about valerian is it is considered like a restorative. And a restorative is helping to restore like proper homeostasis function, like homeostatic function. And so it just helps to balance the body out, not let things be too overstimulated. And in some ways, it can help even jumpstart certain things. And one of the things that happens sometimes, like if you're really, really, really super tired, valerian will actually act as a stimulant. So when I would check for in the early days, when I would check for like potential for chronic fatigue syndrome or something, and just to measure how fatigued a person was, is I would give them 2 or 3 drops and then say, okay, let's see what happens. And if they got sleepy, they were fatigued, but it wasn't bad. But if they got like energized and couldn't sleep after they took it, it's almost like they took a couple cups of espresso or something.
Yeah.
That meant that the fatigue was quite substantial and we had to address it from a different angle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, you're
And
so welcome.
to Sam also. Thank you,
Oh,
Sam.
you.
You're welcome. And then go ahead, Linda.
Hey, Linda, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, thank you. And I do have to start first with thank you so much for WESAC last night. That was the most joyful and blissful, gentle and expansive WESAC I've ever experienced. So
Yeah, it was
thank
really nice, wasn't it? Like
it was really beautiful.
yeah.
And then the Astara stuff from tonight was wow. I feel so different than I did at 4 o'clock.
Oh, good, good, good. Yeah,
Yes.
like the thing is like with that, going down the rabbit hole with the auric programming, without oils, the oils make it so much easier. But without oils, you have to kind of do a little bit of a different process. And so,
Yeah, but it was
yeah,
really, really helpful.
yeah, yeah.
So now I didn't take the respiratory class this weekend, but
Mhm.
we did, when we did the auric programming the first time, whatever it was, a couple weeks now,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, we did the respiratory.
We did the
Right off the
respiratory,
bat.
which
Yeah.
was fantastic. And then the next day we did the digestive system.
Yes.
And because my issues they tend to manifest in terms of an uneasy digestive system.
Sure.
Through that first week, I was doing a stack for digestive, right? Now, towards the end of that first week, I got really physical. I had a lot of things to do that required a lot of physical things in my body. And I mean, my respiratory system was solid. Like everybody around me was having horrible problems with the allergies and all the pollens. And my respiratory system was great.
Oh, good.
And my digestive system was great. And then I spent a few days, like especially even through the weekend here, doing a lot of this physical stuff. And so my muscles started to get really tight, because of things I'm not used to doing.
Sure.
And I started to notice my respiratory system starting to get funky and starting to
Yeah.
get that little like catchy
Yeah.
cough that I would get
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
And then like, my left nostril starts to be stuffed up and I'm like, and then my digestive system started to get like wonky
Right.
and
Right.
it wasn't, my bowel movements weren't as good. And so my question is the muscular stuff triggering something in the
It very
respiratory?
well could be. Yes, it very well could be. And so a couple of things, because those are very good points. So sometimes with the muscular stuff, it can either happen with pain or it can happen with like muscular fatigue. Not just like, oh, I've been sitting at the desk and I'm tired, but like when you are going and doing and lifting and you're doing that. One of the things that can happen is it can cause a little bit of bronchial spasms. And then sometimes the stress of, because it's not like emotional or mental stress, but it's the stress of pushing your body and lifting and doing, and it's just activity. I refer to this as mechanical stress because it's just the mechanics of the body, and sometimes that will manifest first in the solar and then rise up and hit the sinuses. And so that is a bit of a potential. And so I would say just do things that take some of the achiness out or some of the tension out of the body. You could do like a marjoram bath or I've been on this kick lately, like Samantha keeps laughing at me, but I've been using Paracelsus, which is like wormwood, opopanax, and Buddhawood. But even if you didn't have that blend, like if you use like wormwood or um, absinthium, they're very antispasmodic, but they're also very, very soothing to the nerves, especially the nerves of the gut. And I just find that like I like, for example, I have this injury in my calf that there's like just a big like muscle that I get trigger point therapy on it from time to time, and I've had it done for a couple of decades. And the person is always like, God, what is going on with this calf? And it's got a little bit of a torn muscle and everything. And over the years it's gotten better, but it's always very easy to find. Like it's just this band of like tight tissue. And I put Paracelsus on it like twice. And when he went to work on it again, he was like, man, what did you do to this? Did you get a shot? And I was like, no. And at first I didn't realize what he was talking about. But he was like, he goes, I am putting like 2 or 3 times the amount of pressure. And usually you're hollering like, okay, enough. And he said, you're not even wiggling on the table. And I was like, yeah, I really don't feel it. But it's because of it's an interesting combination. Like it's antispasmodic, it soothes the nerves, but it puts your body like into a deeper state of rest and repair. And so the muscle can reboot, like your muscle tissue reboots just like your nervous system, endocrine system, and immune system when you're at night deep in sleep. And sometimes if your body isn't able to relax enough, then you don't go into deep enough sleep, and then your body doesn't do the the rebooting and the repairing. So then the body starts to go in a little bit of a stressed out state. And so for many years they talked about artemisia as being really good for fatigue. And it's different than, like, say you use something like angelica or thyme or cinnamon, where it strengthens you. The artemisia, or not artemisia, absinthium, or the wormwood, or the Paracelsus blend, um, it, it treats the fatigue, but it does it through just better relaxation. Like you relax harder, you relax deeper, and because of that, you have more energy because you've recovered better. And so when times with a lot of exertion, you could take a salt bath with it. Or one of my things is, like, if you have like achy like back or legs or shoulder or something, rub it on that. But I love to rub it on the abdomen, like, because it's really soothing to the gut.
Hmm.
And so I think that would hit a lot of markers for you. Like, it undoes the tension that's in the body. It helps you to rest at the end of the day. Because, that's the thing with when we push our body. This is the thing with athletes is when they push, and then when it's time to rest, because they push, they don't rest as well. So
Yeah.
one of the things that, like, I used to specialize in was helping them to be able to go into a deeper state of rest and repair, like after a day of pushing themselves. And so a lot of times what they would say is they would show up, and you're dealing with athletes that are doing things like all the time. They're usually nursing some injury, like they got a bad something, bad knee, bad hip, bad back, bad whatever. And they would say after 4 or 5 days of competing or whatever, they'd go, I'm tired, but I feel good, and my injuries don't hurt anywhere near as bad. And it's because the level of rest and repair that you hit starts rejuvenating the body. So even though you push the body, and yes, you might still be a little tired the next day, but you feel like good, like your body like recovered. There's different things that can do that, but I find that one's just the easiest and the quickest. The one that I used to use on them a lot too was the pain relief psychogenic. And the reason I would do that is it's very pain relieving, it's very anti-inflammatory, but it's also very soothing to the stress levels in the body, especially for mechanical stresses. And so I would do a combination or one or the other, but part of that is, like, when you get the body a little bit more normalized, all that stuff should resolve again. Because it really, if you look at, like, even what sinus issues are, sometimes it's that we're pushing ourselves. It might not be exercise, it might be at the office, it might be at just juggling a lot of things at home, but it's stress. It's probably not getting a deep enough sleep, and not being able to wind down at the end of the day. And regardless how you got there, even if it's that you're dealing with traumas from the past, sometimes that can also do it. But regardless of how you got there, the body is just not in this place of fully resting and repairing. You're getting like partial rest and repair. And so any way that you can shove that body back into a deeper state, if you just left it the way that it is, in a few days, you'll probably feel better. But if you can push the body into a deeper state of rest and repair, you'll find that you bounce back even faster. And you might have the next day, like, if you've really pushed yourself and you go, yeah, I'm feeling better, but I'm still a little tired. You'll still rest a little bit, and then boom, you'll be back on target, within a day or two. And so I would just say some form of that. Marjoram can still do it. Like spikenard might be able to do it. Valerian.
I have the Paracelsus in a
Yeah, I would dive deep on them.
rollerball, and I'll just do that
Yeah.
on my abdomen and see how that
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
But
And
I think
inhale
that
it a lot. If you have it in the rollerball, and just inhale it a whole bunch.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that answers my question, because I was trying to figure out, like, so now do I treat the respiratory system, or do I treat the muscular system? Like, will treating the muscular system resolve the respiratory? And it sounds like that's probably the way I should go.
Yeah, I would still treat a little bit of the muscle, but I would keep doing the respiratory and the digestive things that you've been doing,
Yeah, I won't
because
stop
they
doing
will
it.
also get you there. Like
Yeah,
it will get you there. It's
yeah,
just, you know, we like to get there a little faster.
yeah,
At least
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
who doesn't?
yeah. Well, it's just interesting to notice that doing the muscular work and stressing that seemed
Mhm.
to trigger the other stuff. And it's
Right.
like, oh, isn't that interesting? So,
And well, if you think about it, um, like I had a big aha moment one time when I was just like thinking some of this out, that the level or degree that your muscles relax directly impact how deep like you sleep. It's part of falling asleep. And I always just thought of it as like, oh, the skeletal muscles have to relax, but it's skeletal muscle, it's the smooth muscle, which is digestive tract, respiratory tract, and then the cardiac muscle. And
mm,
so like pushing the body or pushing exercise or being under a lot of stress or a lot of emotional distress, whatever kind of got you there, if it tenses up the body, you are not going to sleep that well that night. And
mhm.
so however you can take the tension out, then the body can go through and do its magic of rebooting all these different areas. So you're right on the money. You're right. Like
Okay.
keep doing the things you're doing,
Okay.
relax the body a little bit more, and you should be just right back on track.
Okay, perfect. And one more thank you for reintroducing me to the idea of a salt bath, because I got the training, I think that Priya got too, about you're supposed to submerge yourself all the way in so you could just
Yeah,
hold your nose up above. And I hate
right.
baths anyway, and so I
Yeah,
hardly ever take a salt bath.
yeah,
But the idea that I could just sit in it like at waist high
yeah.
and get
Waste
something out
time.
of it,
Yeah,
I can try that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, thank you so much.
So like just to further reinforce that, so when MCKS was still in the body and he would travel through, um I would get, I would handle things behind the stage and things on the stage and everything. But the last time he came through, he gave me this little pillow that's like you inflate, and it's for the bathtub for you to lean your head on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you use one of these?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't want to get my head wet." It's like that spoke volumes for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Tracy.
hey, Lolly.
Okay. So a few things. Yeah, Westside was amazing. I actually couldn't join you for the actual thing, but I
Mhm.
did it later that night.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you.
Good, good. Yeah.
And oh my God, and the meditation right now that you did,
Mhm.
like Linda said, this beyond that was just exactly what I needed.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah,
And had we more time, we could have done a few more cycles. Like, but
yeah.
like use the one that's clearing. I meant to say this also to Linda. The one mantra that's very clearing to the program is the mantra for Tara, the
Mm-hmm.
mantra that I was using. And you can
Mm-hmm.
cycle through, and even if you just end with that little process and you don't do that thing where it's like, okay, now visualize the white light. I do that more, I think, for the intellect to kind of get the idea of like, this is what we're doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how that thing, like you give an example to the mind so it knows what to follow. And I find that when I do that, when I first look at it, I don't know that it does a big difference like right in the moment, but a little bit afterwards, it's like it keeps it keeps it like strong or stable or whatever you want to say. It keeps it like integrating where, you know, I think the worst thing, well, not the worst thing, but like one of the things we don't want to do is go through and do a process and then be done with it and then have the intellect go, I don't know about that, and then the intellect starts pushing back on it. You know what I mean? So you give the intellect, you kind of give it its little visualization so that it's like on board and doesn't feel abandoned or whatever it is. Like I joke about that around here. It's like my intellect feels a little abandoned because of, too much intuition. But there's nothing wrong with
And-
like reinforcing it, especially after the fact, because you're setting a pattern for it to maintain. And so you go, okay, now the ball of light and only good comes to me, because you're affirming what you just did to the aura. Only good's coming to me, only good's going from me.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
works. And then so let's say if you were to do it with oils, what would you use?
Oh, if you're gonna do it with
Something
oils,
from-
I do the auric programming from the class. Like that's what I
Oh, so that would be
yeah. So that's just doing the protocol like that we've done with the oils in the class is very strong. But if you didn't have the oils, you couldn't just go, well, I'll do it without, and it will do something, but it won't address the program. The oils are what address the program when you're doing it. And so to address the program without oils, you go through and you do that little process, the feet, the base, the spleen, the crown.
Yeah.
And then you do the mantra, right? But then if you were to take the oils and do that version, it works okay, but it doesn't work as good as doing the auric programming. Like, so they're the same, but you get there a little bit different way.
So, okay, makes sense. Now, as you're talking, I'm thinking of something else. So if I were to do it with, let's say I want to do it with healing and I don't want to, and I'm not doing the oils, would you do the same pattern as you did for the meditation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love
And
it. Okay.
and the key, like the key that unlocks the door for whatever you want to address is reflection, and then hold it in the heart for a moment. And then the program, like you're addressing something specific. Like even if you reflect and you don't do the heart, it does something, but it doesn't do something specific, right? As soon as you put your awareness on the heart for a little bit, then you've called up like what you're going to do, and then you work the program. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you. And then, so just to comment on the Paracelsus, I just got it, so thank you. And I just used it before it's like, it feels amazing. It's like
doesn't it?
a warm hug that you're putting on your,
Right.
it's different feeling than other stuff that I use.
Yeah.
So it's very relaxing, and I still need to, like, I really just tried it for the first time, and it's worth a check out for sure. So thank you.
It was the reason why it's called Paracelsus. It was the very first liniment that has been like in writings, like that somebody saw, like that somebody used like herbs in a base like alcohol, or actually I think the original version was almost like a soap, like it was like ash and water and a little bit of alcohol or whatever they were using. And then they would, mix those herbs in, and then they would rub it on their body for whatever the body needed. And it's just because it just shoves the body into rest and repair. And so, one of the plants is no longer around. And so I found the one plant that I thought was the closest to it. And it took me a while, but like it's a very simple blend, but very potent.
Yeah, and it's actually had a weird day today that I haven't had in a very long time, and I don't even know why. I got very emotional and get kind of little things, and like this does not make sense. And and then I got way more relaxed doing the meditation. The difference was, I don't think that was one of the things, but I actually did lemongrass this morning instead of doing Melissa. I don't think that would bring up
No, it shouldn't
it
bring anything up, but it probably
no.
doesn't have the same potency of the Melissa. I mean, it's still good.
I did Melissa later because I
Yeah,
was like, this is too
yeah,
much. I,
yeah.
and it feels to me like it
I
was
hear
a
you.
coincidence that, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but great
So
combination.
yes, that
The Melissa and the Paracelsus at the end of the day. Ugh, talk about shaking off a bad
okay.
day. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I balanced back, so I feel so much better right now.
Oh,
So thank
good,
you.
good, good, good.
I have a good question. It's kind of maybe can be related to respiratory because it's
Mhm.
basically all the systems. As far as trauma, not like releasing trauma from a long time ago, like immediate trauma. Somebody
Mhm.
was just in a car accident, do not hurt, they're fine, but need something quick
Yeah.
to just balance back. So I do, because I had that situation with somebody yesterday. So I just did like a quick grounding. It worked great. And in the past, when I had like to pull somebody back, I used like lavender.
Lavender could work, but
But
like one of the best things to use in something like that is like tarragon or benzoin. Even rose could
okay,
work, but like tarragon, like because even like especially like immediately after something happens, there's a little bit of
yeah.
shock and there's a little bit of the emotional body is just like, it's just a little
Mm-hmm.
freaked out. Tarragon will
Yeah.
calm that down and it will calm it down and be antispasmodic and soothing to the gut. And even if there's like physical pain, a lot of times with an injury, it will reduce the pain a lot of times by almost half. And
Mm,
it pulls them out of shock. And we think of shock as just being like the real extreme forms of shock, but even after like say an accident or a fall or something, you're kind of in low grade shock sometimes for days or even a week or two.
yes.
Have you ever had like one of those dreams where you're up and like it's middle of the day and you're like, I still haven't shaken off that dream yet. Like you're not quite completely there, you're still somewhere else. That can happen with a traumatic event like that. And so
And I had traumatic
tarragon,
events and accidents.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. And so lavender is still good. Like if you didn't have anything else, lavender would be good, but tarragon is like kind of a go-to. And then if there's an injury site, helichrysum on whatever the injury site
Yes.
is. And if there's bad spasms, the helichrysum still might address it, but you could throw a little marjoram on it. But like even there, you could throw a little lavender on that. But any of those should be helpful. Yeah.
So and then just inhaling the oil like a few times. That's
Inhaling it a
really
bunch, or even with a tarragon, I usually put a couple drops in water and have them drink it, and then have them still inhale it. Yeah, it'll pull them out a
oh
bit
okay.
like that. Like I mean,
Okay.
it's almost magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Because I realized I'm like, oh, it would be good to have and as far as lavender, I used it more with like, stage fright.
Yeah.
Somebody is anxious just before getting married. So would you use something? So for something like that, it's a type of a different stress. Would you use also
Yeah,
tarragon or would you use
you
something
could
else?
use lavender for that. Another one you could use is actually like chocolate root cleanser. We had a physical therapist like do this like series of tests, and for one, like the chocolate root cleanser when applied topically increased range of motion, like when they'd measure it on the machines by about 20%. And then she started noticing that she was working with a couple of different kinds of athletes that were either pro or like amateur, like trying to be Olympic athletes. And she said that she noticed that when using the chocolate root cleanser, that they had a reduction in self-sabotage type behaviors. They had less anxiety, like performance anxiety, and they were less concerned about, what if I mess up? They were just like, well, got to get in there and just do it. They were more about just getting in and performing rather than worrying about the outcome or their performance or whatever that might be. And so you could throw something like that in the mix. Another one is benzoin, like going to the benzoin, because the thing with benzoin is it helps put like space between you and whatever is going on. And sometimes it's like when we're like stressed out, or like you said, there's a little stage fright, or somebody's about to get married or whatever. There's a little bit like almost too stuck in the moment. And the basil, or not the basil, the benzoin helps kind of pull you back in. You're still present, but you're not like triggered or riled up a little bit. It like just kind of soothes and calms everything. And so it works for shock as well, but it also can work for diminishing like those tendencies to get a little worked up or triggered.
And would you do that? So
Just
you would
inhale.
inhale
Yeah,
it?
inhale.
Would you put any on the wrists or anything?
So with benzoin, you could do that. It's just benzoin can be a little bit
It's very thick.
yeah, it's thick and it's a little irritating to the skin sometimes. Not every time, but sometimes. So just put it on with a little bit of lotion or a little bit of
Oh yes, it's
something, just
Yeah.
like some sort of carrier,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like
I need
have it
to
in a
make it.
roller ball.
We should totally make a roller.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
to make
like-
a roller.
Yeah, Samantha goes, why haven't we made a roller ball? We should totally make a roller ball. Yeah, we'll
So
make
yeah, I have it.
yeah.
I have it on my to-do because I realized it's very
Yeah.
thick, and I remember you mentioned it's irritating, so I'll just
Yeah.
mix it. Yes, okay.
It makes sense. I don't know
Perfect.
why
Thank
we
you so
haven't
much.
thought of that. Like
Well, because it's the same thing like vetiver,
Yeah.
like, and it's such a great.
and it's an easy one to
application.
roll on. Yeah. We'll have a roller ball up here by morning. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And then, well, it's another unrelated respiratory, so it can, I guess. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, can I ask something
Sure,
really
yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on oil pulling for teeth? Like when you do, oil pulling with like coconut or.
Yeah, like I hear coconut works well, and I haven't done a whole lot of that. I've done a little bit of it. Coconut or sesame is usually the ones that get used for that.
Right. So do you like, because I use something with some kind of coconut and then a combination of different oils. So would you?
Yeah, if you're trying to do that, I would do tea tree could work, bay laurel could work. Even cypress could work, but if you're going to do cypress, I'd go like heavy-handed with the cypress. Like I'd go really heavy-handed with the cypress. Like, you might put like 3 or 4 drops of tea tree or bay laurel in. I might do 10 or 12 of the cypress. Just because it's so good at, and it's gentle, it's so good at oxifying everything. And so, yeah, that could be a very good thing. Yeah.
Okay. And so you would do this, so tea tree, bay laurel, cypress.
Yeah, bay
anything
laurel.
else?
Bay laurel's a pretty good choice. There was another one. I'm trying to think of what it was that we. Oh, helichrysum. Helichrysum was the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Tracy, then Sonia.
Hello.
Hey.
So WESOC was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I just put the helichrysum on my tailbone area.
Mhm.
Just a couple of times, did some marjoram,
Mhm.
and I had PT, and it's almost 100% resolved.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like it was still kind of wonky, but yesterday before WESOC, I took a poplar balsam bath.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Because you're
And then
fancy.
yeah, because I'm fancy. And I just wanted to kickstart,
Yeah.
And I intuitively chose 2 oils to kind of smell before the meditation. Actually, I smelled a little during it, at the beginning, but
Mhm.
it was Garuda and blue
Oh, yeah.
Tara.
Because you're
And
fancy.
yeah, not sure exactly why I chose those. Those were the ones that said, yeah, pick me up.
Well,
So
like Garuda, is like a symbolic aspect of the light. And like they say, even the Buddha could not reach enlightenment without Garuda. Like Garuda is how the Buddha became enlightened, or like how the Buddha got to be enlightened.
is
And
there an image of him riding Garuda?
Not Buddha, it's
Buddha?
Vishnu. It's Vishnu.
Oh, okay.
Because divine intelligence turns into love. And so Vishnu, which is the love aspect, is riding Garuda as a steed. And so divine intelligence is kind of the foundation for love. So then you see um, Vishnu riding Garuda.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the blue Terra, what's
Very, very cleansing, very purifying, especially
okay?
for stuff from other people.
Good. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and the funny thing was after the meditation, like I kind of did one of those dissipating shields for Brian because I didn't want to
Mhm.
cause any chaos. But man, I was totally loving afterwards, just like cuddled up to him, like not really. Normally, it's him doing that to me. Last night, it was me doing that to him. So that was
Last
really
night
nice.
you were like, "Hey, sailor."
Yeah. It was funny. But and then what else? Oh, and so my respiratory system has been so good
Oh, good.
since yes, and I didn't actually do all of this weekend. I had to
Yeah.
step out on Sunday. Um the the only thing is I walked out today and the privet hedges are blooming, which
Oh, yeah,
usually always get me.
yeah.
But like so far so good.
Okay.
But if you had a suggestion of which,
I do like keep doing the respiratory protocol that you're doing, and
uh,
then just throw into the mix the allergy support.
okay, at the
Either
end or at the where?
maybe at the end, but
Okay,
I'd say even maybe do a salt bath with the allergies support at some point,
okay,
or wear it a little bit on the wrist or something like that. Yeah.
okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Glad
Loved
things are
voice.
doing better. Yeah.
Yeah, so much
And
better. I
and
was
for
like,
you, keep working your neck a little bit as you do the like just whatever oils you find that are helpful for antispasmodic as you're working the respiratory stuff. I think it will help unwind your neck more.
oh, okay.
Just
It
from the
was
surgery and all that.
it was really. I will definitely do that. It was really interesting with. Oh, so sorry. Stop it. So it was really interesting with the tailbone issue because it felt like my body went immediately into flight or fight.
Oh yeah, it sure
And
did. Yeah,
like
it sure did.
it felt like I was having a huge flare up,
Yeah,
fibro flare up.
yeah,
And what you told me just completely removed it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. I'm glad that worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hey, Sonia.
Is it, do you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
What's in Aura Cleanse?
Orclins, let's see. It is Ami Visnaga, turmeric, Atlas cedar, thyme, basil, hyssop, a whole bunch of Tuscan blue rosemary, tarragon, sage, and rue.
Uh, and what is in balance?
I gotta find it. I have like 6 different recipe books. So give me a second. It's couscous, aloes, spikenard, valerian, myrrh, benzoin, and acacia.
Uh, eh, and like there's Cade and Acacia and Acacia. Uh, which is the ones that are cinnamon?
That's cassia.
Cassia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acacia is like something different. And Cade is like a juniper. Cade has that really deep smoky scent, and then cassia is cinnamon. Yeah.
Okay.
Acacia is like a holy plant. Like the Ark of the Covenant is made partially with the wood on the Ark of the Covenant is acacia.
Huh. Okay. And I my heart chakra hurts again, and is there and I was clearing it, and are there cords in it again? Or have
Um, like there's not negative chords, but you have positive chords that are dirty, which tells me it's probably your family. So like just do the etheric chord blend. And sometimes if you feel that's like not strong enough, sometimes in special situations, I'll use aloes. You can use aloes.
yeah, okay. We had our mediation yesterday. And
Yeah, that's probably why your chest hurts.
yeah, and they wouldn't mediate.
That's shocking, huh?
I'm not surprised. But I was surprised how much misunderstanding and misinformation that they had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, mediation doesn't happen because everybody is on the same page. You know what I mean? So, I hope that works out for you.
Yeah, they can't. What surprises me is they can't under, they can't understand my mom's in a dangerous situation. Yeah, there's 15-foot high stairs at the end of each of her hall, and she wants to leave, and they're unblocked, and it's the second floor. And I don't understand why they can't see something so simple.
Yeah. Well, keep pushing.
Yeah, okay.
And go ahead, Lolly.
Hey, Lolly.
Hey, so follow-up question. When
Yes.
we talked about trauma and using tarragon, benzoin, you would use it right after. Would you also use it like the following day, even if the person is like, oh, I'm fine?
Like if they're fine, I would probably move on. Like, but for it depends on the person, and it depends on like how agitated they got. Because like if you watch somebody, like they still are kind of processing it a little bit afterwards, and so they'll keep talking about it and repeating it, and if they're like still in that mode, I would say keep using the tarragon or the benzoin. If they kind of shook it off and were like, because sometimes the trauma might not be that bad, and they just go, whoa, that was weird, and they talk about it a time or two, and then they've kind of moved on, then I would say treat it for like with marjoram or helichrysum, just to keep the body healing and undoing the effects of the trauma. And so the helichrysum will help let go of the physical and emotional components of the trauma and help move past it. And the marjoram is still transmuting to the body, but one of the things that it's very good for is it pulls the body out of fight flight. And so sometimes with like an accident like that, part of the repetition and everything is they're still stuck in fight flight a little bit. And marjoram will pull that out of it. Like tarragon will still do it, but like marjoram's a little deeper and a little stronger, and it relaxes the body in a little bit of a different way. And that would be the next phase. I mean, you could use it initially, but I find that tarragon is like right when it happened. Tarragon, it's tough to beat. But then after a day or two, then I start moving into like the helichrysum, the marjoram, even lavender, or spike lavender, even, which it smells like lavender. But the thing with spike lavender that's different than normal lavenders is it's very calming and regulating to the cerebral spinal fluid circulation. And so it just helps the nerves to kind of reboot a little bit. And so it's not like the point of the spear, so to speak. It's not the thing that I use right off the bat, but it's like as I'm refining treatment sometimes with situations like that, I might throw spike lavender in there a little bit. And going back to the Paracelsus, like, even after a couple of days, hit them with some Paracelsus or have them inhale it or something like that, because long-term effects of the trauma is usually there's going to be some sort of respiratory little distress for a little bit, and the gut gets a little bit out of whack. And so the quicker you can calm all that down, which tarragon hits all of that. Tarragon will also hit the shortness of breath that can happen with that. And so by going through and treating that, you're really diminishing what's happening in the now, but you're also diminishing the potential of the next few days. And then as the next few days unwind, you can just go deeper with a little marjoram or a little helichrysum. And if you feel you need more, then I would do some Paracelsus, either inhalation or rub it on the abdomen. And if there was an injury site, if the skin was not broken, I'd rub Paracelsus on it. If the skin is broken, I would put helichrysum on it until the wound binds. Yeah. Because the helichrysum will make the wound bind and heal at a much faster rate than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then and when you said helichrysum and marjoram, so you would do inhalations, or would you do it internally as
Inhalation, a
well?
couple drops on the wrist, a salt bath, depends on who it is and how much time you have and what you have on hand. But, some way, somehow. And, if you have the time and the oil, like I'd even have them inhale, put some on the wrist, put it on close to the injury site, because the marjoram will really take the spasms out of the body. Because whenever you have an accident, you have the injury site, but your body goes on a little bit of a clamp down because it tries to protect like the internal organs, it tries to protect the throat, it tries to protect your joints. And so the body kind of tenses up a little bit. And then the incident's over, and then the body's like, yeah, let's just stay in this protective mode. And then a day or two goes by and the body's still in that protective mode. So it's a way to unwind that, which further deepens the movement to rest and repair and diminishes the fight flight responses. Because part of fight flight is also muscular tension. And not only that, but sometimes in an injury site there is this byproduct called lactic acid. And it's just like when you are lacking oxygen and the body keeps pushing, it will produce this lactic acid and it will get stuck in the tissue. And so like you'll know it because like if you push on that area, and then it doesn't like sting like how nerve pain hurts, it just like burns and then it releases. That is still tied to the fight flight mechanism. And so sometimes in an injury, like you go into such a fast, like rapid breathing, and then the trauma, the muscles contract and they're contracting harder than what really they should or what their potential is. There'll be some lactic acid that builds up in the area. And that will low grade keep a person in a fight flight response. And so by unwinding that as quickly as possible, you kind of keep shutting down the body's tendency to go into fight flight when it comes to that injury.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then let's say you didn't do that. Let's say you didn't do that, the person got stuck in an injury for a very long time. Would you still do? I mean, then you're
I would
looking
still
into
start
deeper
with
issues.
yeah, I'd still start with those three things. You could drop the tarragon, but you could go to helichrysum, you could go to marjoram, you could go to the paracelsus, but then I'd start looking at pain blends. Like if they've been there for a
Yeah.
while, I'd start like point of the spear for pain. I'd go either pain soothe or birch complex, and because those will cover a wide range of different kinds of pain, and then they'll unwind and soothe things in ways that just regular pain formulas won't. So those are very good,
Yeah.
like blanket treatments, first treatment when nothing else is working.
Mhm.
They unwind things pretty fast, especially when there's like muscular tension. I find that the pain soothe is very relaxing to the body. The birch complex is very soothing to the body, but if there's an emotional component, like they're really upset, like there was, the accident was bad, or there was, an outcome where like this means I'm going to miss work for 5 days, or whatever it is, and there's like this emotional kind of added trauma to it. The birch complex seems to work better at releasing the emotional component.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then respiratory question is German chamomile. I actually used it a couple of times because the nose kind of felt a little bit off, like kind of and it works great. I love it. My question is though, is there like, can you use it a few times a day? Like, is there a limit to how many times you use it?
You can use it a few times a day, I would say, and you could use it daily, but like after about 3 weeks, give yourself maybe a few days or a week off, and then you could go back and use it 3 weeks again. Like just give yourself a little bit of a break, just because it does elevate white blood cells. And if you were to go like 8, 10 weeks, 12 weeks of using it every day, and inhaling, you could probably get away with. But if you're starting to take it internal, the internal part, after a couple of months, it will start reducing the tendency for you to absorb iron. And so, but if you give just even a little slight break in there, it doesn't happen. But if you go just straight through, but just internal, like topical, it doesn't do that. Inhaling, it doesn't do that. Just if you're taking, you usually it's an issue when you're already treating like some sort of like infection or post-infection, or like inflammation, or like colitis or something, and you're having to give them a lot of that internally. You still want to, like, about every 3 or 4 weeks, you take a break for about a week.
If it's a daily thing.
If it's internal, yeah. Other than that, you're good.
Okay. And then because I try and really, so you can use it a couple of times, but then okay.
Yeah, or you can use
perfect.
it multiple times a day. Like I think when I use it like 4 or 5 times in a day.
And then, are there any other oils like that jump off as like that you would use like often, but you're like, okay, don't use it for longer than a few weeks or so?
Yarrow.
Like if you're using something internally?
Yeah, yarrow. Yarrow would be another one that's like that. The really dark blue oils, like yarrow, German chamomile, and dark blue tansy. I mean, you'd have to work pretty hard for it to be an issue, but I still like to always err on the side of caution. And so I say 3 weeks, but you really could go a couple of months, but I would still keep it around 3 weeks.
Okay.
But other than that, trying to think if there's anything else where. Oh, savory. Yeah, Samantha reminds me. Savory is another one where use it a few weeks, and then, you're usually treating really bad infection with savory. And so it's not something you usually use long term anyway. So yeah, but other than that, I mean, if you are treating a really nasty like viral infection or cold and flu or something, you might use savory for a while. But after a few weeks, like 3 weeks or so, you take a little bit of a break.
Okay. But then the other ones that we mentioned more often, there's nothing that jumps is like, okay, don't use it more than like a few weeks.
No, no. Uh-uh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Cool. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Go ahead, Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
With the last sequence we just did, so is it, can you use or cleanse and balance for
For which part?
the thing, the pattern we just did for the unwind, transmute, and light? The
Oh, in Astara?
front, heart, feet, basic, spleen.
Yeah, I would just do that by itself. I mean, you could use those, but that was more designed to do it without the oils. So if you're wanting to do aura cleanse, do the back heart, the navel, and the crown, just to clean out the energy body a bit. It's a little
Back,
bit different with oils than not with oils. So a little bit different parameters.
back, heart, maiming, and crown
No, back heart, navel, and crown
to clean what?
to flesh out the aura and the chakras.
Oh, okay. Okay, and like the most difficult part for this court stuff is that it's not about truth and justice and protecting my mom physically, emotionally, mentally. The guardian ad litem lawyer and the other opposing lawyer are all, it's games and lies. And I've always been call a spade, and I I don't know what to do when they do that. I mean, it's like, how can we do that in a court hearing that's
Yeah,
for justice and truth and all that?
I know.
My mother's interests.
Yeah.
How do I?
I mean, I think just doing what you're trying to do is your best bet. I don't know that there's any magical way to address that.
Energetically, I mean, it's just like, it's like deer in the headlights. I can't,
Yeah.
figure, like in the
Think
guardian.
of your mom. Think of your mom and bless the earth. Like just bless the earth, but think of your mom.
Anytime or when that
Whenever
happens.
you want. No, just whenever you want. Just do it on a regular basis.
Okay. Okay, and she wasn't there at all, but like, so a lot more weird stuff happened because
Yeah.
he wasn't there. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And then just because of the nature of how we did this
Yeah.
one, I feel very cold. It is winter time here, but regardless, I'm always very cold to the bones, it feels. Is there anything I have that could heat up the inside out a little bit?
Black pepper. Do you happen to have black pepper? Cinnamon would be another one. What's that? Yeah, cinnamon. Yeah. So cinnamon would work. Black pepper is usually my first choice, but cinnamon would be right up there.
Could Greg speak about the difference between WASOC on April 23rd and WASOC on May 23rd?
Yeah, so WESOC is traditionally always falls in May, but it's actually a particular full moon. It's not just the full moon in May. And so usually it falls in May, but every once in a while it falls in April. And so um, the next full moon is in some traditions they still consider it Wesak because it's the full moon of May, but it's still a very powerful full moon. It's the full moon for the hierarchy, for all the higher beings. And so still a very powerful one, but the one that we just did is the strongest of the year, and it's when the downpour comes from the Buddha. The one before that is associated with Christ, the one that was back in March. So there's three. And so yeah, that would be the difference.
And last question, what oil or blend can I use for a massage?
For what are you trying to do?
Release fear.
Fear. Like what, their fear of something that you're aware of, or just unconscious fears, or
Both.
Hmm. Is there some more detail? Like I feel like I'm missing something. Like, is there something going on, or just something unconscious, or?
I feel knots in my shoulders.
Okay, I'm not sure that that's necessarily fear. Can you give me a little bit more presenting symptoms?
I said it triggers fear.
Hmm. Can you give me a little bit more of the presenting symptoms, or?
Neck tightness.
I'm not seeing how the fear and everything kind of goes together. So like maybe can you just maybe give me some more details?
Fear of moving forward.
Can you maybe come on and let me ask some questions, or?
I'm in a very loud space right now.
Well, maybe send us an email and I'll try to address it. Yeah, it's feeling like I still need a couple pieces of information. I can't quite figure out what it is. Yeah.
And go ahead, Sonia.
I'm wondering, I think part of the issues with the family stuff is my mother has a lot of negative karma. So will that blessing the earth help?
It will help. Yeah, it can help. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But bless the earth and think of her.
what?
Bless the earth, just like I said, and just think of her.
Okay.
Okay, you guys. Well, sorry we didn't get to do a practice, but yeah, I hope you had a good class. This weekend is also another free class. It's the 2.0 version of the what is it? The energetic mechanics of the nervous system. So it's the aura, the chords, it's kind of an overview of the basic anatomy of the energy body, but I spiced it up quite a bit. So same kit, it's all the same oils that you had the last time. And so, the list is posted, and just try to have some of the things there, and we'll have fun with it. I can't remember, did we do it in 1 day last time or 2 days?
I don't remember either.
Yeah. So this one's 2 days. So I definitely made it a nice little 2-day. We can still have plenty of time to chat and talk things out and ask questions and Q&A and stuff, but we'll be doing some nice practices. So